What's up, everyone? Today we have a interesting little project. Picked this up. Guy wanted 40 bucks. Says it doesn't make power. Talked him down to 20 bucks. Which I figured, I mean, it's a 206cc Briggs & Stratton OHV engine. That's not too bad. But the generator itself is about 3,000 watts or 3250 from the looks of it. Porter cable. And yeah, I figured 20 bucks it's worth it, and it came with a nifty extension cord. Anyway, I got there, dude pulled the cord, started right up, and then had to drill and didn't do anything. I'm like, okay, here we go, 20 bucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple readings and see if we can get anything that's decent to come out of this machine. Maybe, I mean, I don't know exactly what type of components are in here. I do know it hasn't been opened because that sticker is still on there. So that's good. This does not have 240, just a single outlet. Now, first things first is I checked the breakers, and they all appear to be okay. They're not tripped. So far we did one thing. And yeah, I think we're going to get the multimeter out and we'll see what we can find. So this next part, if you do have a 240 outlet, it's going to be a little easier. And it also means our generator is going to be a little different, obviously. But if you have a 240, there should be 4 plugs or 4 places instead of just 3 on this one. The name's escaping me. So basically, you're going to want to put one end of your multimeter in the center one, or the easier way is there's going to be one that is kind of curved and then it has a hook on it. That's ground. The one directly across from that's neutral, and on either side is going to be the separate parts of the generator, leg 1, leg 2. If you don't have that, you just have this, it means you don't really have to worry about it, but we're still going to test both of them just to make sure the outlet itself isn't bad, because that could very well happen too. So I'm going to get the multimeter out. I'm just going to shove one end in each side, and that's all. Generators are not my forte usually, so I'm not 100% sure on what numbers I should be seeing, but I'm assuming based on my research here, we should be seeing roughly 0.3 ohms. Point 0.3, 0.4, okay. That's good. I'm gonna turn these. Let's do the bottom one. Should be the same, but just in case we just have a bad plug. Yep, same. Well, that's the test that I wanted to do. If it was out of that realm, you probably have a whole lot of problems in there. Most likely just has to be recycled, but we are not done yet. I'm going to cut open the sticker, which isn't going to be, I don't want to, because that usually means that something bad happened, but something did happen, and it's a lot better than not opening it up. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, we're going to want to take a look at the windings and make sure there's nothing black. The little ropes around them aren't burnt. They're not broken. So far, I'm not really seeing anything like that. So that's good news. I'm going to take off this capacitor so you can get a better view. Okay, hopefully you can see in there, but under further inspection, still a whole lot of nothing. So that's a capacitor. Now, whenever you work on a capacitor, you always want to discharge it first. Easiest way is just connecting the 2 posts together with like a screwdriver. And your hand should not be touching that metal, by the way. And then once you've done that, it should be okay. but we want to make sure it's discharged. And then we're going to check the capacitor, because if the capacitor is bad, this is not going to work. So let's take a look at that first. Let's take a look. Let's take a screwdriver here real quick. Discharge this bad boy. Seems to be fine. Now, let's take a pair of pliers. I swear the people that use tripods every day are a special type of patient, because I'm really starting to lose patience for mine. Now, let's check this out. Turn that off real quick. We're going to turn it back on. Probably not necessary, but we are going to check for capacitance. On my multimeter, that's what the symbol looks like. I mean, they should all be the same, but just in case you get the weird one. And not all multimeters will have it. I find some of the cheaper ones don't. But if you look on the side or on the bottom, it's usually on the side, it'll tell you a couple things. One, this says it's 370 volts, okay. But then right here it says 25 MFD, microfarads. That's important, because we need to know that number when we do this. Isolated from the metal table. I don't suspect that's the problem. It shouldn't be. Not 100% sure, but just in case. Yeah, still the same. So if that was good, which I think this is just completely bad, it would have given me like 12, or excuse me, it would say like, you know, 24.8 or 25.1 or something around 25. And usually on here it'll give you an amount that's okay for it to be off. It's like plus or minus 5 or 10% or something. But this one's worn off. I can't really see it. But it was nothing. And just to make sure, I'll just try it one more time. Still, we get nothing at all. So, that's not good. I like to be thorough. I'm going to get a different multimeter and see if it confirms the same thing. Attempt number 2. The best multimeter in the world can still be off. Yeah, no? Same exact thing. Okay, well, we have a bad capacitor here. That's why this isn't making power. We can do other tests, but when we already see something bad, I don't really see that being necessary. Now, if we get a new one and we still have problems, I'm not going to... I don't think that's going to happen, but if we still have problems, we could go down that avenue. Something to kind of think about too is the person that sold this to me said that he used this a decent amount, and he was in the middle of using it. Then he turned it off because he had to go get more fuel, and next thing you know, it just wouldn't make power anymore. So he tried and tried and tried. He took a drill because he saw that. Basically, what he was trying to do is something called a flash a generator. And I even got a drill out because I forgot he was telling me this until I started recording. But when you flash a generator, basically you are adding a little bit of electricity to it. When you connect a drill to it and you turn the drill manually with your hand with the trigger, it kind of creates its own power and sends that power into the generator. The generator then uses that power to build up the fuel it needs, and then once it has everything it needs, boom, you're done. It starts making power, assuming it's a good generator. I'm gonna go on the internet. When you buy one of these, you need to get something similar. The hard part in my experience isn't finding the microfarads or even the voltage, it's finding the correct size. They come in so many different sizes. They could be the same width, but they could be super tall. They could be super narrow and super tall. They could be super short and super wide. You know, that's really the hard part. And considering that we have a very specific size requirement, that's going to be the hard part. Usually when you buy them, if you go into the store, you just take the one you're replacing. You can go to like electronic stores. A lot of HVAC locations they carry a lot of these. They burn out all the time in like air conditioning units, so they have a good supply. Online, they usually give you a measurement, so however you choose, just make sure it physically fits as well as it meets the same criteria as the previous one. Otherwise, you can risk damage. Got the new capacitor installed. Let's put the cover back on, see what happens. I have a drill connected in case we have to flash it. Let's see what happens. It's unconnected. Don't really want to have anything drawing power when you first start a generator. Even though the switch is off, it's just not a good habit to get into. I'm going to get a meter. It's kind of buried. I'm going to get a meter and a little bit more of a load. Let's try this again. So this heat gun is off. At the low setting it's 750 and the high it's 1500. High would be about half the rated capacity of this generator. So it should give us a pretty good draw. Try no choke. Can't see. Lift it up a little bit. Is there not a way to increase this without taking the cover off? Starting to think so. Well, I think this is going to be a two-parter because I want to be a little bit more thorough on this next part. And basically just that. So more or less, hopefully this fixed your generator like it did mine. But if it doesn't, you could have other type of generator. If you do not have a capacitor, then you usually have an AVR. If you do, that could be potentially bad. Could be your brushes are bad. If you did all these tests that we did earlier, checking the coil, and everything comes back good, at that point you would also want to check the rotor. Checking the rotor is a whole lot easier if you do have brushes you can access, because you could just check through the brushes, and if you get something, any reading that's within reason, you know it's pretty decent of a rotor. If you get it open, you potentially could have a bad rotor or a bad brush. If you then want to test the rotor directly on the rings, and if everything is still testing good, you have bad brushes. I'm not going to go over every scenario, but usually what I see with those are just mainly bad brushes. Sometimes a little tiny wire that connects on there, it's like soldered on, or yeah, I think it's soldered. The solder will break. You can potentially try to fix that. It's really hard to explain where. It's towards the top, but it's also one of the easiest places to break, which is why it breaks often. That's beyond the scope of this video. If you have a generator like this, check your capacitor. We had a completely dead capacitor, completely dead generator. Replace the capacitor, boom, done, working great. Just make sure it physically fits and it's the same rating. In my case, 25 microfarad, 370 volts, plus or minus 6%. At least that's what this one is. So I'm gonna leave you at that. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.